other two are rent only.
But your insurance will cover two of
But
them.
they're, yeah, because the doctor said if you're going to exercise, you need 6 liters.
But technically, one is not a concentrator, it's the fill.
It's the filler, right.
So she has one concentrator that's a rental, that's the high flow.
And then the other one I happen to own, and it doesn't show up on the records as a rental, so, yeah.
How many in here use a concentrator? Does everyone have a
Concentrator?
concentrator? A concentrator.
Concentrator.
So when you're at home, you use one of these, you plug into it, and when you leave the home, you'll plug into a portable when you leave the home.
I'm curious how many have oximeters of their own.
You kind of
Quite a
monitor
few.
yourself. Great. Good to have.
So, can I ask a follow-up question?
Yes.
How economical is it to have one of these instead of getting refills from the provider?
It's pretty economical. Yeah, it really depends on what your schedule's like. If you're one who isn't home during the day and can't wait for deliveries, kind of a thing,
This is problematic.
This
Yeah.
is a great option for you, to where you can fill them at night, take them to work the next day, and go. And again, they come in all sizes. They range from an E-tank right there, and you can get continuous flow, to this B-size cylinder, which is quite lightweight. You can go in a backpack or a shoulder bag.
Yeah, I have the C size, which is
A little fatter,
a
right?
little fatter.
Does that machine cover any size tank? That machine right there, or do you have to get the machine to fit the...
They have a certain tank that goes with it. You can't just plug on this gentleman's tank. It only fills the DeVilbiss tank. It has this little spout on it, and only takes these tanks.
A lot of what we pick kind of falls into the category of the most reliable compared to the most convenient. We've seen things that are sort of whiz-bang, but they haven't been completely reliable. And this system has been extremely reliable. You can't beat high-pressure gas for reliability. Nowhere else do we get that kind of numbers. Reliability is, we think, the most important key.
Do you have to take regulator with every tank, or can you switch the tanks with the regulator?
These are permanently attached to the tank. So if we gave you 2 or 3 of these tanks, you would have a regulator on each one, or a conserver on, on these tanks.
How long will the gas last, or the liquid last before it evaporates? Is it permanently sealed?
These don't evaporate. The liquid does.
You could lose a couple of pounds of liquid a day if you don't use it. So that's a downside of liquid. You can't let it sit around or it evaporates.
Did everyone hear that? Liquid oxygen, even if you don't use it, you lose it. That's something.
So you couldn't take this in your car and in the morning it would be gone. So that's a downside. And everyone cannot use conserving oxygen. We have some people that desaturate with it. And so if you don't have your own oximeter, you need to check with your doctor and make sure that it's okay with him or her for you to use that. You want to be safe on that side. Yes, it makes your cylinder last longer, but the other thing to consider is the faster you breathe, the more quickly that oxygen goes down. We can say 5 hours, but if you breathe 30 times a minute, you may outpace what that device can even do. Most of them peak about 30 breaths a minute. Not good for a trip to Everest either.
That's another good important point to realize, that depending on how fast you breathe, you'll go through a tank quicker. Okay.
Should we sit down for a minute now?
Okay, I think the next few slides will just kind of summarize what we've already gone through. So